So what if the aliens who conquered Earth didn't show up with lasers blazing and threats? What if, instead, they arrived with gifts and the promise of a perfect world? That's exactly the idea we're diving into today. A story about what happens when humanity is put into a gilded cage.
Just imagine it. Colossal ships fill the sky, and this is the first thing we hear. Not a demand for surrender, not a threat. It's a promise, broadcast on every screen on the planet, spoken by an 8-foot-tall woman with deep purple skin. They're offering us paradise. But you just know there's a catch.
And get this, the Valorotan matriarchy, that's what they called themselves, they didn't destroy our cities. They fixed them. Solved climate change in like a single weekend. They didn't want our planet's resources. They wanted us, specifically our men. Turns out, in their vast, all-female empire, males are incredibly rare. So, yeah, this wasn't an invasion. It was an adoption.
Now, a story this out there doesn't just come from nowhere. It's actually part of this really fascinating and, yeah, kind of bizarre subgenre of sci-fi that's been bubbling up on the internet for years. And that brings us to our first big topic. Humanity? Fuck yeah.
So, what in the world is humanity fuck yeah, or HFY for short? Well, you know that classic sci-fi story where humans are either the pathetic newcomers to the galactic scene or, worse, the outright villains? HFY is basically a rebellion against that. It's a whole category of stories built on the idea that humanity is actually surprisingly powerful, incredibly tough, and maybe, just maybe, the scariest thing in the galaxy.
And here's where you can really see the split. Think about a movie like Avatar, right? Humanity is the plague, the destructive force ruining a perfect world. HFY is the total opposite. It's a reaction that says, hey, wait a minute, what if conquering our environment isn't a flaw, but a sign of our incredible strength? In these stories, we're not the ones who need saving. We're the ones everyone else should be scared of.
Okay, so if humans are secretly the tough guys of the galaxy, how do you explain that without just making us sound like bullies? Well, the genre has this absolutely brilliant built-in excuse. The reason we're so tough is because we are all, literally, monsters from a Deathworld.
The theory is pretty straightforward. By galactic standards, Earth isn't some gentle cradle of life. It's a nightmare. It's got crushing gravity, it's soaked in radiation, and it's full of things that are trying to kill and eat each other constantly. See, most intelligent life out there supposedly evolves on nice, peaceful planets. We evolved on a rock that's been actively trying to kill us for millions of years. And all that struggle, it accidentally turned us into superhumans.
And it all starts with this one simple number, 9.81 meters per second squared. That's Earth's gravity. For us, it's just normal. But in the HFY universe, it's the secret to our power. Imagine an alien who grew up on a planet with half that gravity just trying to get out of a chair here. It would be a workout.
So, the result of all that gravity is that our bodies are built like tanks. Our bone density, our muscle fibers, they are completely off the charts compared to the galactic average. To an alien from some low-gravity paradise, a regular person just jogging or lifting a box would look like a superhero. Our basic everyday biology is their superpower.
And it's not just about being strong. Think about it. Our ancestors were persistence hunters, meaning we evolved for insane endurance. We can just keep going long after other animals give up. Our sun gave us a natural resistance to radiation. And maybe the most important part, our minds are forged from surviving ice ages, famines, and disasters. We have a psychological resilience that is totally unmatched.
But this whole idea of humans being secretly superpowered brings up a really interesting criticism of the genre. You could call it the underdog paradox.
And yeah, that's the big question, right? These stories love to be about humanity fighting against overwhelming odds. But if we're all secretly biological juggernauts, are we really the underdogs? Or is it just a power fantasy where we were always going to win?
Which leads us to this pretty blunt but well-known critique from a user on Reddit. The argument is that maybe this genre isn't really about celebrating the human spirit. Maybe it's just a fantasy for people who wish they could be the bad guys and still be the heroes of the story.
So you can see the two sides of the coin here. Is HFY about celebrating our willpower and our refusal to ever give up? Or is it just about us winning because we're biologically wired to be better? It's a tension that the really good stories in this genre know how to play with.
And that brings us right back to where we started. Back to our 8-foot-tall purple alien conquerors.
Because in the story of the Velvet Cage, humanity's true weapon isn't our dense bones or our powerful muscles at all. It's something much, much sneakier.
You see, the Valakata really thought they were adopting a planet full of cute, fragile pets that needed to be pampered. But as one of their own warriors eventually realizes, that was a huge mistake, a terrifying miscalculation. They didn't adopt pets. They invited predators into their house.
So how does the human rebellion fight back? Not with an army. They pull a heist. First step, create a distraction. They use a human male as, well, irresistible bait for the all-female Valoratan guards. Step 2. While the guards are completely mesmerized, a rebel team slips right past security. And finally, the score. They steal the ship's power core. They don't overpower the aliens, they outthink them. They use the aliens' own psychology against them.
And that is the whole point of the best stories in this genre. Our physical strength, our endurance, that's just the toolbox. The real human advantage is our absolute, stubborn, and frankly kind of crazy refusal to be stopped. We will try anything. We will break any rule. We simply do not know how to quit. This is the punchline of the whole story, and honestly, the entire genre at its best. In a galaxy filled with amazing technology and ancient alien races, it turns out that the most dangerous weapon wasn't a plasma rifle. It was a human man with nothing to lose.
So it kind of leaves you with this thought, right? In a huge, dangerous universe, maybe our greatest strength isn't our fists at all. Maybe it's our cleverness, our unique, relentless ability to pick any lock and to escape any cage, no matter how comfortable or velvety they try to make it.